Yalla, infidels, I refugee from Guantanamo Bay, mess around the border like I'm Cassius Clay. But that's right, there's no draw here today, infidels. It's heels over strong all day long, not any Tyson and Roy Jones phony promo payout. It's the real deal, the real shoot here on the Monday Locker Room, hackerhamin.podbean.com. Yalla! First to the chat is our man, Old Athers. I see him hanging out in YouTube, Ben Hamin land. We're here at twitch.tv/conspiracy horseman, ready to kick it off with a bunch of headlines. And I'm back with the man himself, Dr. Ted, a.k.a. Grogu, about to get that stuff today, baby. What's going on, man? How are you, buddy?
Good to be here, Ben. I like the Cassius Clay reference in the little rap there, the little Muhammad Ali. I remember when I was Ted the Trailer McNailer, I had to pay homage myself because we know Muhammad Ali had the famous line, I float like a butterfly, sting like a bee. But as the redneck maniac Ted McNailer, I floated like a keg and it stung when I peed. So it was a little different, but at the same time, got to pay respect.
I remember that, man. That was phenomenal promo. I popped bigger than I did right there the first time I heard it. That's good. I didn't see that coming. You had so many great promos in promo class, man. That was fun stuff. It's too bad we don't have tape of that even. You know what I mean?
I wish.
That.
I will say there are some tapes backstage at OVW still. Occasionally I would just randomly pop them in from people that were just coming through in the early 2000s. Like there's one with Christopher Daniels cutting a promo backstage, and Joy Matthew. And they're just literally just a bunch of guys that if they came through OVW and went on to WWE, they probably have their first promo backstage of, most of, there were some good ones, but most of them weren't quite so good. And so it's funny to see where people started at and to see them before they were there. And I believe, though, the interesting thing is I don't think WWE owns that footage because that's just the old OVW training school footage. It wasn't OVW television, which is what they own the rights to. So it'll be interesting to see if those ever make it to the light of day. Someone would have to convert them from VHS tapes, but still.
Yeah, but still, that's a good project for somebody to get over because that could earn some fucking revenue right there, man.
I'll tell you what, I know they always need extra hands. So if you're just want some intern work, I mean, I'm sure it probably won't pay anything, but if you just want to have the opportunity to archive stuff and go through footage, send out a message to Al Snow or the gang over there, and I'm sure they'd love to help.
Now's the time to do it in a downtime where you're not having to run shows and all that stuff. Like now's the time to get those projects done, started, and going. Because the value in that is evergreen once you have that digitized, and whoever's doing it also is going to get a world-class education in tape review.
True. I forgot even the house shows, and I don't know the deal on that if they own the footage on those or not. But
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. But I do know, again, there's a bunch of old footage of guys in their first matches. Now, granted, it would only be a one shot from far away, so it's not like, it would be, good production value, but still, there's some, I'm sure, very good quality stuff there with the guys that came through.
Cody Rhodes posted just 2 weeks ago, I think it was, a booking sheet that was from his first match in OVW's first. It was probably just his first match, period.
It's probably sitting backstage on a VHS tape in the giant library that just collects dust. And I know that because I sat in that room for years.
Well, on the sheet was everybody on there, and the whole booking sheet he posted, and by it was ref assignments, Ramsey, and it said MB, and Goose, and people don't know that I put, not that they need to, but I was just like, hey, if you guys want to leave even more insight tip, MB is Man Beast, who is our own Dr. Ted. So, I mean, we're all so connected from that era, that 2006. And you're even talking about before then, what's back there. There's Brock tapes and all that kind of shit probably too, man. There's probably footage of house shows at Shelton Benjamin and those guys. Absolutely. It could be out there. It's just somebody to go through the old VHS. And when you're digitizing VHS, it's in real time. There's no fast forward. So you put the tape in, hit record, goes to digi, and then you've got it. But you just need the Black Magic turnaround stick for it, and I think they're about $180. But yeah, man, that was cool that when he posted that, but just see all the names on there and really know who each guy was, because on the booking sheet it doesn't have their shoot name. I think Punk was on there as himself. He was in the main event. But it was like everybody's fucking nickname, of how they're booked. So
right.
tweet if you want to go back through Cody's and see that, or even mine, I guess, because I retweeted it, and Hamin Media Group probably did too. But yeah, man, put the link out. It's the Monday Locker Room, 16 strong. Amp Williams, Horror Junkyard, our own Dead Man Chuck's here. NHL, I see you, brother. Frank's Pickle Barrel Ass in the house. Who else we got? Let me scroll up here, make sure we're not missing any. Jay Hal, of course, this dude, he's always on the clock, ready to rock. Our own Not Jargo, good to see you, Briz. Ken Sorrell's in the house. Ron Booth checking in on YouTube as well. And, of course, that devilishly handsome son of a bitch, Matt Damon-looking motherfucker, Old Athers. That son of a bitch. But yeah, man, I'm glad to be back. Had a good weekend. Got out to the woods a couple times. Didn't really see or jump anything, but conditions were perfect, like post-storm for animals to be moving, and birds were out, woodpeckers and all that kind of shit. But so I got my pecker Woody and pecked, and
so sometimes you have to,
Yeah, sometimes when you're out there, you do it together. But it was good, ninja style on the creep, man. You can just be silent and fucking on the stalk, but it's all about right time and right place. And I was in the right place. They just didn't come through, I guess. So plenty of outs. Coach Kev in the house as well. Woke Smoky BWB. Yeah, that always makes me want some B-dubs every time I see that dude.
Oh man, do you see they replaced their blazing wings with that new ghost chili or ghost pepper chili or something like that wings, which I will never try, but I just thought that was interesting.
It just always makes me think of you, Jamin, and Serena and Power and us going and just laughing. But I would always get mango habanero and garlic parmesan.
Those are good.
Those were fucking slam.
But I did try the blazing once when they had that. The flavor wasn't even good, that sucked anyway. At least if it's going to be hot, at least I wanted it to taste good. But it tasted bad, and it was just ridiculously it was stupid hot. Like not even the good kind. Like I like a good heat. Like the mango habanero. That's a good solid one. But
that shit was just for punishment. Yeah, I'm not down. And I never eat it because here where I am, we have Tully's, which is a local chain.
Oh, yeah.
And, bro, it's smoked.
You've taken me there. Yeah.
It's
awesome.
Their chicken tenders are just unbelievable. Best in the world, I think. Legit fucking CM Punks.
Ben, while you were out in the woods hunting, I did a little bourbon hunting. So the Saturday after Thanksgiving every year, now this year was a little bit different, but there's a little store here in Louisville that I like to go to called Westport Whiskey and Wine. And they always the Saturday right after Thanksgiving, usually it's a big sale they do on site where literally they hold back all the allocated and rarish bourbons throughout the year that they get from the different distilleries. And then on that Saturday, they do their treasure sale where basically people line up and they'll buy all the different allocated bourbons. Well, this year they couldn't do that. So it was an online version where literally you just had to keep refreshing. I hated it because I feel like it killed half my day and productivity because I was spending half the day scrolling through or refreshing my phone. But I ended up getting my hands on some decent little bottle. The 1792 has a new bottled in bond bourbon that's hard to find. So I got that as well as a single barrel of New Rift bourbon. They called it chocolate covered cherry. I'll try to save back a little for you. It's pretty good. And then Russville straight rye whiskey, which I don't know if you would care for as much. I haven't had it, but from what the owner was telling me, it has a little more bite and spice.
I don't. It's the peat of
peat I don't like.
Yeah, I just don't. I can't get into little Johnny Walker Red for scotches, but I don't get into it. But
no, I've learned Johnny Walker. Now that I've had some different scotches, Johnny Walker to me is a no-go. I like a good like a Glenmorangie that's finished in like a port cask finish or sherry cask finish, something like that really takes the peat to almost nothing, and you get that smooth aftertaste.
I've got Dalmore all my best liquors are from Triple D because he's fucking got the best.
He's the man.
And I hate to even say it because I don't want to put you can look it up if you want, but I've got just one shot of that Blood Oath left, and I didn't realize how high priced that shit is, bro. It's no joke. When he says small batch, there's only 20 bottles. It's fucking small batch. But she brought me back this.
Nice. Yes.
Have you had this? Yeah.
Solid.
Is it solid?
It's a little more sweet. Yeah. And I'll tell you, have you had Larceny?
I think so. I think I have had that.
I'd say I drink similarly, and I mean that in a positive way. It has a little more of that sweet wheat flavor, so yeah. I think you'll like it.
Well, it's made by Germans in Kentucky, like from Germany. So I'm interested in Bardstown. So when I come down there, I'd like to check that out too, man. But so that was a nice little gift she brought back for me there. But I was jealous of your finds. But that's cool that they did the online thing and you could hammer down that way and then just go pick it up, man. That's cool.
Yeah, that was nice. It was a lot better than showing. Usually I show up at like 5:36 in the morning and then you just wait several hours till they open at 9. Some people even camp the night. I've never been brave enough to do that, but yeah, that was a lot more convenient to stay at home and just have to refresh my phone.
NHL, I see in the chat there, you live in PA, you could digitize them. I get it, man. I'm nowhere near them. I doubt they would let them out of OVW. It would probably have to be done on site there.
Probably.
I could understand and done that way. So if you're interested, contact Al Snow. I haven't or OV at OVW, OV Wrestling, man.
Yeah, if you send a message to their Facebook page, they usually have a team there that'll see the messages and but they'll probably. I mean, I don't know. It's worth an ask, I guess, but more than likely, I'd imagine it would have to be on site and during hours someone's there because again, it's very valuable footage, and unless it's someone that probably Al knows personally, he's probably not going to let him out of the building.
That's where they should have something with Daymar College, or they should have with U of L or any place, your school there as well. Bellarmine. And, where that's just in their media program where every semester they get a new intern and there's jobs like that for them to do as a junior in college. Digitizing wrestling tapes would be pretty good. You know what I mean? That could get you right into Full Sail and then right into NXT. If you really wanted to do the map as a producer, that'd be in 5 years, you could be going from never doing anything to being into NXT as a junior producer and have your degree. If you wanted to do that, whatsoever. It's going down here, man. Big this week. We had a great meeting yesterday. We've got more meetings this afternoon I'm excited about. I'm not going to stooge off any business till we're really off and running here, but we got a lot to greenlight for. We're really going to put you guys, the diehards, to work here as part of the cells getting greenlit in 2021. Gloves are off, so we're going to have some group activities, group activities where we're going to get the Hamin Media discussion group, the Discord, the Twitter heads, the Twitch heads, all the bit cheers, the shit talkers, the Russo branders. We're going to do some marketing stuff. We're going to do some takeover stuff on social media together. It's time to come out of the trenches and storm the front lines and make our voices heard because we're already over 2.2 million views. That's leverage. It's time to start using our leverage. We've built enough, and we've got some fun stuff planned. We're going to start putting it in motion here in the next couple of weeks. So keep your ear to the ground because when it's about to go off, the orders will come through. Don't worry, infidels. We've got big plans. And you know what else we've got? We've got the Monday morning monologue, infidels, to kick off your week. So y'all are Grogu, take it away.
All right. Yeah, we did see Grogu is the name of Baby Yoda. Imagine that. Had to stay up late at night, I'm sure, to see. But either way, good morning, everyone, and happy Cyber Monday. Now, don't get too excited when you hear the word cyber. I'm not here to ask for your ASL. I'm here for your Monday morning monologue. And I don't have any podcasts tomorrow, so I'll go ahead and wish everybody a happy Buyer's Remorse Tuesday as well. Speaking of cyber, Ben, I heard one of your men was actually the first ever cyber suicide bomber. Did you hear about this?
Yes, I know all about it.
He blew up all over the internet. It was crazy.
Oh, great.
As for me, I'll be shopping online this Cyber Monday. But for those of you who might prefer a little Black Friday shopping, all you have to do is just park a mile from your house, push some people out of the way on the way there, and it'll really get you in the spirit. That's what I like to do. And I admit sometimes I even like to drink while I'm online in cyberspace, pretending like I'm at the space bar. I did that. Anyway, let's get to some wrestling news. Here are your headlines this week. Two-time WWE Hall of Famer Kevin Nash is part of the cast for the recently released film Chick Bite, and he discussed the impact pro wrestling has had on Hollywood. When Hollywood was reached for a comment, he declined because he wanted more money. WWE superstar Lana shared a bikini photo on Twitter and wrote in the caption, "Can't wait to take pictures and dance with Asuka, hashtag WWE Raw," because that is what a top name would do. WWE Intercontinental Champion Sami Zayn isn't happy with WWE management, and he has let that unhappiness show on Twitter. He claimed the company is trying to actively sabotage him, although I have to say that, honestly, Sammy, I think it's completely fair as they equally sabotage the rest of the roster. In a post to Twitter, Hulk Hogan has shared photos of himself as well as one of Chris Hemsworth, stating the actor is ready to play him. This definitely has me interested, but if they really want to put it over the top, in my opinion, book Terry Crews as Zeus and then take my money. Lana finally has some momentum on her side. At Survivor Series, she was the sole survivor of the Women's Survivor Series elimination match for Team Raw. Meanwhile, Lana's husband, Miro, a.k.a. former superstar Rusev, tweeted out his pride in his wife after her Survivor Series win from Sunday. Miro tweeted, "Proud husband of the sole survivor of the Women's Survivor Series team," because that is what a top superstar would do. She followed that up last night. Sorry, I messed up my own joke. Damn it. Shit. Let's see. What the fuck? WWE Hall of Famer Jerry Lawler, who turned 71 years old yesterday. The King celebrated his 71st birthday on Sunday and noted on Twitter that he's been celebrating alongside his broadcast partner in Jim Ross, which is kind of neat that he's 71, because if you flip the 7 and the 1 around, you get the same age as his last girlfriend. So that should have been the closer. Damn it. I should have closed. All right, we'll see if I can bring it around. Back to Lana. That's who the she was. When she teamed up with Asuka against Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler, Jax and Baszler interfered in an initial title match between Asuka and Lana. Ultimately, Lana was finally able to avoid getting smashed through a table by Nia Jax for the first time in 9 weeks, all but guaranteeing she'll be going through the table twice tonight. And last but not least, as far as Nia Jax again, after they finished eating a Thanksgiving dinner, Nia Jax and her family decided that some dancing was in order. She posted photos and videos of it to social media, which you can see. And the first video features them dancing to Pump Up the Jam by Technotronic, while in the second they danced to the Pointer Sisters. I'm so excited because that, ladies and gentlemen, is what a top name would do. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, this has been your Monday morning monologue.
Yeah.
I should have closed on the Lawler joke. I felt it.
It's all good, man. That's just for me to pop
And
me.
if any of you refute that, I dare you to come out here and do something about it.
That's it right there. I dare you to. You can't, because it's the Monday morning monologue. Yeah. That was great, man. That made me laugh. That was excellent. Dude, yeah, for those who don't know, Jerry Lawler likes very young women. Multitudes of them. But yeah, man, appreciate you putting in that work. That was great writing as always, dude. And we have so much fun with that on the Monday morning monologue, Monday locker room. I love that that's a feature there. Just like Strangler Steve's shout outs and what he does on Wednesday. Everything's got their own personality until the end of the week, where Stevie and I are just burnout and disgruntled. But the links are out. We'll see if anybody does the run, and I haven't seen anybody yet, but that's not a problem, man. Big shout out to Rick Vickery, is still taking care of some family business. Shout out to Billy Ray Valentine and Bello and Strangler Steve again for your Wednesday locker room. You guys are having a good time interacting with them. At Old Bitter Steve, I believe he's at now, but he's usually putting out the requests for the shout outs, whether it's gifts or whatever's going on, man. Have fun with it, guys. I love that interactivity. This weekend we had twitch.tv/conspiracy horseman for the kayfabe watch along of UFC, and it didn't get pulled, even though I thought there were stooges in the room. It seemed like we shamed them into being cool as kindly as we could. And we watched that, and then on Discord for Hamin Media Group, they had the Tyson fight going, or whatever you want to call that, the Tyson work.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So it was a good time to see all of our communities and the digital watch along of updates in the Hamin Media Discussion Group run by William Alicia going on over there, man. So I want to just say thanks to all of our community moderators who, Colin's in the Discord. I'm on Twitch. William Alicia is putting up great graphics and news and up to the moment stuff in the Facebook group. That shit is awesome, man. That I don't want to let that not be acknowledged, of all the true diehard participators who are doing everything, and the watch alongs and the Javid and the Pick'em challenge. Javid with the UFC keeps it going. He's got all the spreadsheets and everything. Like, dude, I'm just like, holy shit, boys, good job. Like that all needs to be recognized. And if you're just not just an avid listener, or you're just finding us, all this stuff is here. It's free. I believe in free media, open platform, and community building. And through the strength in numbers, we all will grow together. And we have gotten it now to a point where things are changing a bit with the patreon.com/Hamin Media Group with Russo brand. And it's all because of a massive effort on everybody's part. And it's just awesome to see, man. So
speaking of which, we finally got Rip Rogers an email. Speaking of the Patreon, so for those of you that are members, riprogersfr@gmail.com. If you're part of the, if you're one of our fellow patrons, then you now have the opportunity to shout out some questions or requests. I will decipher through them, because I only like to poke the bear so many times with Rip, because he gets very agitated. You can't mention certain things. He just goes off the rails, and that's part of the reason why people love it. But I do love to poke the proverbial bear. And so if you have something you'd like to hear about, or questions or otherwise, then send him a message, and we might read your question on the air. So.
Yeah, Rip Rogers FR, you guys. That's awesome. Thank you, Beast, for taking that. We're doing a lot of rebranding, getting Rip stuff all set up for him, so we don't have to worry about other things. And he might be able to, well, probably not with that one on the phone. I said I'd like to get that issue solved this week with the passwords. I don't know if we can do any of that.
Man, that's been, talk about technology. So yeah, we're trying to get Rip to get on to where he can live stream, but he has to download, I think, Chrome or just something very simple to his phone. In order, and so I grabbed his phone. I was like, okay, we're going to download this. And then it asked for the password to be able to download it. And then he's like, well, I don't remember my password. Okay, well, then let's go to your email reset and do that. He goes, I don't know how to get into that either. I was like, well, there's nothing we can do at this point, as far as I know. If you don't know how to get to your email,
we can get around it. I don't know, man.
But I'll see if we can chip away at that.
Yeah, maybe if there's something we can do ahead of time to get it set up with a phone number. I don't know, anything, but like that's the last piece of the key of like making things easier on all of us. But I appreciate you being the executive producer on all that. The new video version is up on Patreon for episode 6. I just finished compressing the audio this morning, so I'll have that up this afternoon. If you're more of an audio listener, what have you, because I boost the audio and mix in a little bit of entrance music and whatnot. And then we'll have some teasers, Rip Rogers extra video coming, and then some extra fun stuff that we've been planning on the side as well with the Hustlers. So hello, Granny. We're going to have a good time with it, man. What else going on, Beast, this week that we can stooge off, or anything in the news before we have to get to these wrestling headlines you want to talk about, man?
I made a turkey. That was pretty big news. That's the third time that we've ever made one in our house, and first time I really took the reins on it, and it turned out good. It was difficult, but at the same time, it was rewarding, especially when it turns out okay. The key, I used a Jeffrey Zakarian recipe, and the key, at least from his standpoint, was to use a dry brine the night before. And that's basically where you basically take all these different types of salty type seasonings and just coat the entire turkey all over, and then set it out in the open. So that way, during the night, that salt, as it gets into the meat, it kind of tightens up the skin. And then as you cook it at a high temperature, actually, instead of doing it low and slow, he likes to do it a little more hot at 400, really get that skin nice and crispy on the outside and get that crunch. And it turned out really good. So there's my recommendation. Dry brine the night before. You're here first, Lace.
That's it. Not only is he a doctor, he's a master chef. He's a bourbon connoisseur. I mean, this guy, he can pull 90 minutes. If you want to see him at his max capacity, he just did a watch along with Rip Rogers on commentary where they watched a 90-minute Broadway Rip Rogers style. It's available right now for free. YouTube, Hamin Media Group. And please subscribe. We're trying to get that affiliate channel up. A lot of you have, and please share that match. Adam Revolver, Dr. Ted's longtime tag team partner, and Rip, definitely one of the sons of Rip that people don't know much about, and probably one of the best wrestlers, technical wrestlers on the planet. So 90 minutes, you guys. We're trying to get YouTube watch hours up, subscriptions up there, and it's free. Hamin Media Group, and you're getting Rip Rogers. I mean, come on, forget about it. The commentary alone's worth it.
Forget about it. I wish we could get Revolver on here more, especially, he'd be great on the Conspiracy Horseman because he loves talking politics and things like that. He's very well read too. So I'll keep chipping away. I'll keep trying.
I sent him the link this morning. We'll see if anybody does the run-in on the Monday Locker Room. These wrestlers act like they want shine, but then here's the opportunity. Will you take it? But yeah, man, I had a good time in the woods. I skipped dessert at Thanksgiving. I was so full, and I was like, I'm not going to make myself sick. I got to get home and do work anyway, and then worked out a little bit as much as you can on Thanksgiving when you feel like complete pile of shit afterwards. But I've been going hard this week. I feel strong and ready to take on another week, even though the weather's changing. I can feel in my voice, and when I wake up, congestion wise, that's just part of it, so does Rip have kids of his own? Yeah, and his son shot up like a freaking tree, man, like a pine tree, and then now his son can do, I think he said he can do 200 straight push-ups.
Yeah, and he's just as OCD as Rip is with just getting the rep after rep after, just because Rip always says it's just a mind thing, it's a mental thing. You can do fucking 100 push-ups, you just push through the pain. That's always been his attitude. And we talked about his training regimen. And I, as a doctor of physical therapy, do not recommend doing this because I still say your body needs to rest. But Rip said he trains every single day, every single body part. He just does 300 reps on each thing and then leaves. And I was like, that's crazy. Still to this day, at 66 years old, at the gym every morning, gets there at like 5:30 in the morning and reps out 300 on everything and then goes home.
I do 300 and I'm done. Like
right.
I like one body part, not every body part. So he does 300 chest, 300 arms, 300 legs, and possibly 300 back.
Yeah, like rows, pull downs, press. Yeah, he does try to get it all in. I know it's too much. It's overtraining. I don't recommend it for anybody else. I really don't recommend it for Rip either, but he's not going to listen to whatever I have to say. So but more power to him. I mean, he looks great. He does look good, but his son, same way. Apparently one of our other wrestling buddies, Randall Floyd, also a great wrestler, said the first time he met him, he just got down on the floor, just repped out 200 push-ups just because he could. It's like, all right, well, you got me beat.
Hey, if you don't know, like people are like, 200 push-ups. I challenge anyone who doesn't do
straight.
Get down and try and do 30 in a row right now and see if you can get through 30. I'll wait and see how you feel. Like, and you'll get to 30, you will be shaking like a leaf, and then all of a sudden you think you could do 170 more. Like that.
I think granted, I can't say I was the most athletic ever, but when I was at my peak, I was pretty good shape, I have to say. And I think because I used to try to rep out as many as I could. I think I got about 80 to 90 was my max. And so, yeah, the thought of doing 200 is just ridiculous.
I might be able to do 40, 45 tops. Like,
dude, to do today, I'd be glad to get that today. I'd be glad to get 30.
I did 30 about 3 days ago, so I felt good. Right before Thanksgiving, actually. So, but then no way could I get 50, bro, and do 200. Holy shit. So it is mental that you hear me crippling myself right there. But the kid, he had some learning disabilities, and that doesn't matter to Rip. Like, you might be soft here, but you're going to be super strong over here, and he made his son into that too. So now he's a good looking, he looks like a young version of The Rock with the mustache and shit. You know what I mean? That's what Rip's kid reminds me of right now. So, but yeah, He does have a son. And there's an interesting kind of side story with that maybe, I don't know, it could be something a little heartfelt to touch on the Rip Rogers podcast, that because his son did have learning disabilities when he was young. And I remember him coming to OVW, and you could tell that for his age, his mind was more immature than it was. But then once you hit puberty, you're just going to grow, and he's going to become to whoever he is. He's a big son of a bitch, that kid now. Like, he's a big kid, but in high school, or he might even be getting close to graduating now. He's got to be probably out of high school.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, we haven't really talked much on we usually just stick to wrestling in general. But yeah, that'd be good to touch on.
I wanted to say, because of what Rip was dealing with privately in his son's own learning disability, that is what inspired the Eugene character for Nick Dinsmore. And not a lot of people know that. You know what I mean? So that might be an interesting thing to kind of touch on, of taking from your own life and turning it into a creative storyline. Anything can be turned into a creative, positive thing that way. And maybe that helped Rip deal with what he was going through at the time as well, to be honest with you.
Yeah, certainly. Yeah, Nick Dinsmore, talk about one of the sons of Rip. He was probably one of the first sons of Rip.
Yeah.
You know, that whole crew with him and Conway and all those guys at the time. So yeah, that's crazy. I didn't even know that, honestly.
You didn't know that
No.
Dinsmore's the Eugene character is based off Rip's son. Yep. So
It makes sense.
You know, it's not like I mean, it's a blown up, way over the top version, but
Right.
how much people love Eugene by the end. That, you know, like
I did too, especially when I got to team with Eugene. Talk about easy match.
Easy, bro.
No bumps.
I've seen people have to wrestle Dinsmore, and it's like moving a refrigerator. Not that he's stiff or anything, but it's like, when you have to wrestle Dinsmore, that's not wrestling Eugene.
Right. Yeah.
That's the fucking OVW. That's like opening the OVW textbook and going, "Let's go, motherfucker."
Right. Yeah. He's a technical. Yeah.
He knows it all front to back. He wrote most of it, you know, helped when anything needed to be shown, it was Dinsmore in to show it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Or if they had to fill time on TV, occasionally he'd be the guy you'd send out there with whoever and say, "Hey, we need you to kill some time. Go out there and go."
Yes. So,
you know.
But Eugene is all a gimmick, and you don't got to do shit. And you want to talk about character?
Smart.
They brought that in there, and he worked with everyone. Who didn't he work with? That there was the top guy.
Hogan. Right at the time, yeah.
You know, he worked with the DX in and out. McMahon's like that, doing nothing, bro. By waving, by even doing backstory that Eric Bischoff was his uncle as a rib, and then you bring it in to light, dude. That guy had possibly one of the arguably the best runs there was, with taking the least amount of bumps.
Yeah, and he got over by putting over the rest of the roster, being, you know, a super fan of sorts, which I have said. I don't know if I've said it on the show or not, but I would love for them to revisit a similar character, someone that's a super fan and puts over. Of course, then again, most of the roster does that anyway on their own, not in character, but just trying to be marks. But as a character, it works. You know, when you really put it over, like the way Eugene did, and that's what got him over and endeared with the fans, was him putting over all the rest of the roster, because they saw, you know, through the eyes of his character that he was a fan himself.
Dude, you know, Frank, you're right on that. He liked that he could do everybody's move. That was the thing. He was a savant. He watched so much wrestling. He might have communication skills, but when it came to it, he could pull anybody's stuff and do it. And Nick Dinsmore is the guy to be able to do that, because when it comes time to wrestle and get shit over, he's safe and it's going to look awesome. And through this character, he could do that. Appreciate that too, Boss Hog. I hear you, man.
And let me tell you, you know, when you there's a lot of times physical manifestations that come with disability. And let me tell you, because I've had some of these fans pull me in for hugs, and the incredible muscle tone they have. I legitimately believe that someone that is that way could absolutely grab and manipulate a wrestler, especially someone the size of Dinsmore. But I've had guys that were smaller than me that just about squeeze the life out of you, and they don't even know their own strength. You know what I mean? So,
dude, my buddy who passed, his brother Hooch, lives in group home and whatnot, because he's you know, learning disabled, pretty advanced and whatnot. But bro, the guy's the size of a grizzly bear, and there's other guys
squeeze the life out of you when you hug him.
Dude, Nate Dogg, he's awesome, but like when he grabs a hold of you, you don't know how strong he is.
Right.
And he said, Hooch said, because he was working there, but this was long before Hooch passed. He was working at the house in the home. And there was another guy there who went ballistic. And he said he fucking ripped the toilet out of the floor, just ripped it out of the fucking floor, bear hugged it and pulled the bolts and everything, pulled the floor right out with it, bro, and just fucking gunned it against the fucking wall. Jesus. Like when you got toilet ripping strength, it's fucking believable in my opinion, you know? So that was another, they never did that with like Eugene having that super strength, but it's believable if you are a watcher and you know that, that these guys have that. It just adds a little layer, but yeah, there's some inside info and I'd love to hear. I don't know, you know, it might be personal for Rip, but that's what you guys are paying for at patreon.com/Hamin Media Group right now. And right. I think we're going to switch it over to Rip's whole own platform, but oh yeah, we are. Yeah.
Well, yeah, like I'm telling you, but yeah, Ben, come on, get with the program.
We are. Oh.
Well, no. I just want to put it over because it has people responded very, very positively to it, and I think there's more we can do with Rip, and I want to give him his own highlight. So you know, I think that's the way we're gonna go, and we may still offer though, like still having like one of the monthly shows still as part of the HMG tier. So we'll work out all those details, but yeah, just to let everyone know, because I know Rip's been a big hit on the show, especially when he does a run in on the locker room. Although I think his new otherwise his other schedule doesn't correlate with the show, so I don't know if we can call him or not. But either way, I know a lot of people were having a lot of fun when they heard Rip on here the last time, and so just want to give more opportunities to have fun with them, tell some stories, and you know, like just have some fun, especially if you want to hear some old Macho Man stories. He's always seems like he's got one of those, so it's always a good time.
I'm excited to go territory to territory. I think we got a lot of good ideas for good segments of things that even you and I have never heard. We've heard a lot of it.
Yeah. Well, and I feel like every time I hear some story I haven't heard, like last time he was talking about how him and Randy Savage would always try to compete with one another. And obviously Savage would win a lot of competitions, but sometimes Rip would win. And then Macho Man Savage would get so hot. He said he'd just look at him and go, contest over, and just not put him over. And then he'd work stiff with him in the ring. And like he did not like it. He said one time they did a foot race and Rip was faster than Macho because he was smaller and he was lighter. And so they foot race, and at the end of the foot race, because he had such a lead on Savage, he turned around and ran the rest of the race backwards. So Savage kept trucking forward and charged right through Rip and tackled him to the fucking ground, and then looked at him on the ground and goes, contest over. I was like, I never heard that, but that's great. I love that.
Getting Macho hot at you, talking shit to him. That's good stuff.
Contest over.
And that's what you're getting, guys. You're getting inside info that WWE doesn't have. WWE wasn't part of ICW and all that shit, man. Like that they were all owners in and whatnot. You're gonna get stories that have never been heard before. Even the one I just watched episode 6 while I was working out, Beast, and just a lot of Orton family talk of that. We started with a conversation about phony punches, and we go all the way around the world for 50 minutes, and it's phenomenal. And it's only $5 at patreon.com/Hamin Media Group. And soon Rip Rogers' own Patreon as well. So much going on for 2021 expansion. Like I said, we're going to be green lighting a lot of you guys in the community. So I'm so pumped to see how strong the community is right now. So what's not strong are these headlines: 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 19 headlines. Holy shit.
These better be good because this is taking up my Cyber Monday shopping bin.
Okay. Well, you guys made it through Black Friday, Shop Small Saturday, and now it's Cyber Sex Monday. So have fun on Pornhub renewing your subscriptions, infidels. Because
they have a new lifetime membership. So there it is.
Do they have a lifetime? Wow.
Yeah, for the Christmas season. I don't know how much it is, but apparently you pay some price and you have Pornhub for a lifetime. So there you go.
Nice. Well, Rip's Patreon, $100 a month. Got to pay the hustler. That's true. Everybody does got to pay the hustler. There's no doubt about that. And I'll be kicking in his end from the Patreon as soon as that hits in the next probably 72 hours. So thank you guys, because you are the money is going to Rip and take our cut at HMG. But soon there's going to be even more options where we're working on Rip's next book. You can get autographed copies of that. There's going to be new shirts. There's going to be interactive fan experiences. Once we get the phone snabbits off the Habacha Hay, we'll get all that shit going.
Yeah.
And, it's going to be a good time. Rip can cut all the dirty promos you want and fucking we're do all the cameo shit. It's going to be awesome, man. So a lot of work in the next 4 weeks behind the scenes at Hamin Media Group to get not just that brand, but another brand launch. We're going to be talking later this afternoon on the Kayfabe. So
Kayfabe. Kayfabe.
Yeah, gotta. And then Man Beast will tell me what we're doing later, and it'll be.
This is what it is.
No, we are. Yeah.
I don't know why I got so excited there. I was like,
I was just
how
I to him. Yeah.
I spaz out sometimes. I can't help it. My ADD is just. Oh,
No. We had a meeting about it. Tell him. Okay.
No, tell him. Don't kayfabe him. Come on, Ben.
Good stuff, man. That makes me laugh. Oh shit. All right, here we go. From Wrestle Stink. I like ProWrestling.com better for many reasons, but dude, if you've gone to ProWrestling.com, they plugged in some new skin for their website, and I bet it'll be gone by next month. The magazine skin, and now dude, wrestling fucking people want to read their shit in a list right there. Skip this headlines of the top one. This one is scroll. Everything looks like a fucking magazine, like a Huffington Post. It fucking sucks. So I bet by next week it'll be gone, dude. It's so functionally bad. But
it doesn't lend itself towards the new technologies and what actually is going on. I was reading an interesting study about how the attention span, it used to be every 12 seconds on average, our brains would naturally try to shift attention. It is now reduced on those studies to about 5 to 6 seconds. So literally it's been about cut in half. And so that's why things that are shorter pieces of information, a lot of times, although some people still like the long form stuff, especially for car trips and, shows like this, but people also, there's a big market for small bits of information. I think, especially when you're reading something like the news, unless you're someone that likes to sit down and read a newspaper, which, is becoming less and less. People just want to get their information, get in and get out and get on and click on to the next thing. You know what I mean? And so, yeah, those long form written out articles, I think, are a dying part of a dying past that for some reason they're trying to hold on to.
Yeah.
It's weird.
It's just the way to scroll through it is so not functional. But we'll start with Wrestle Stink. Conan, K100. I was on Lions, Tigers, Bears, and Disco this week on the run-in. They sent me the link to Shock Disco, and then I stayed for a while. It was a good talk. So if you aren't a Russo's Brand subscriber, December is the month to do it, you guys, because it's free month December. So definitely get over there. What is it, 30 tomorrow? And sign up. So that's the best thing you do. And it was a good LTB and whatever D or whatever the fucking show's called. But obviously Disco and Conan do K100, so it'll be interesting to see what goes down there. But he talks about Conan, Bowdy and Rowdy talks AEW shooting down marijuana reference during Inner Circle Las Vegas segment. Conan was on that, and they just said they just knew a guy and that they're ready to take the party to the next level. That's when Conan made a brief appearance, said, "I always got the best stuff. I know exactly what you need." And they're in Vegas. Fans then saw the Inner Circle pile out of a limo with smoke billowing from it. Conan recently revealed the original plan was for Inner Circle to acknowledge that they were smoking marijuana inside the vehicle. However, they did not make any reference to pot due to the presence of a legal girl from the Jacksonville Jaguars, according to the Conan on his K100 podcast. If we're up in the limo and smoke is coming out, what do you think we're doing in there? Roasting marshmallows? I'll give Chris credit. He tried. We tried to do the roll-up sign. We tried to have a blunt. We tried to blaze one. Bro, they had a legal girl there from Jacksonville Jaguars saying, they're like, no. Just so finally I said, why don't I just say I always have the best stuff? We could do none of that, but Chris did try. He did try to push the envelope because he even goes, What is that? So you do Iranian tobacco. Say that your fans will know. Ooh, is that a shot at cons? When they were shooting Jericho, the inner circle kept insisting I have drinks. Who am I to say no? They kept insisting I smoke. Why would I say no? The former WCW star also gave props to AEW for its production quality and treating him very well during his latest guest appearance on Dynamite. He said, let me tell you, I was very impressed because you don't know what to expect until you work with somebody, and everything they do is very first class. I had to sign a million things just to do that scene and get COVID testing, and they had a lawyer there. They do everything by the book. Their level of professionalism is very high. I was treated very well. They had me at a nice hotel. Everything was cool. Kudos to them on that. Boom. Whatever. Yeah, man. I like Conan's run in right there, and does suck that you're doing a Vegas scene where weed is legal and we still have to fucking. I would like to say some line, but no one's towing the line more than this guy on the big run in right here. You better respect him because it's back, and every day, really, not just one day a year, is Von Lilas Day. Big Von Daddy, how's it going?
Is this thing on?
You're on, bro.
There it is. The man. So we're putting over the Rip Rogers podcast, which we have to say would not be possible without you, Von Lilas. You're the one that has made the Rip Rogers podcast possible. You're the one that has gotten in the ring with John Cena, and you're the one that has trained Pat McAfee. And yet we're here and graced with your presence. So thank you.
Dream maker.
Well, and I actually did a watch along that I can't release because there was some tech issue with it, but I'm going to redo it. Saw an awesome match I had forgotten about. You and Pac versus Sucio and Fanger, man. Holy shit. That was so good. It was DCW, and Shiloh was with you. It was leading into Shiloh and Fang.
Oh, yeah.
Side business. But it was just these two monsters keeping these two little guys alive. And then you fucking lit into Fang with a chop. Oh, it was so brutal, bro. You could see his heart like beating through his chest after that. It was bad news.
First, I thought you were going to say it was Sucio and Jimmy. That would have been right after the OVW taping against Los Locos, where what's his name gave me a bunch of shit, said I wouldn't talk to him or plan out our match or whatever, or wouldn't do anything. So then
Lowrider.
We
did the DCW taping right after. So I went to Jimmy and Sucio. I said, well, hey, whatever you guys want, just anything you want. You can do anything. What do you want to do? Just tell me. And let's do it all. Get all your shit in.
Yes. Good rib.
Whatever.
There's for those that don't know, Anarchia in TNA wrestling. He was with Hernandez for a while. Yeah.
They don't mind all the kids' crafts. I'm in my home office. This is where I work every day. The kids are home, so they might do their own run in here in a little bit when they wake up. So I had to put a little craft room in the office to keep them entertained at times. So that's what you're seeing in the background here.
Well, I'd love to have you on too on the Patreon, man, because you've really taken a turn in your life from what a lot of people would say is a safe and maybe not as fulfilling to some, but it's fulfilling to some, a teaching route that could easily stayed in and turned and said, no, I'm a worker. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a man who's going to take my destiny into my own hands. And you've had so much business experience in the last 5 years, really, of crafting your own brand that way. So I really want to have you on the Patreon to talk high level business and what your failures and successes are and lessons that you've learned and models that you've been working on, man. But I just wanted to congratulate you on that, dude. You really done a great job for yourself.
Yeah, thanks, man. I actually got a whole new thing in the works right now. I've been getting some I would call high level coaching training. I got another session at 3:00 today. So the teaching thing, man, that was 22 years of exactly what you said, safety net, which I hate to regret anything, but I do kind of regret, hanging on to it for that long. Not at the end so much, but at the beginning. I wish, I knew the writing on the wall years ago, and I wish I would have just went for some other things. Wrestling one of them. I wish I would have taken more of a leap of faith in wrestling, gave it more of a shot, moved down to Louisville and that kind of stuff. But, the past is the past. So I made my changes now, and I'm happy where I'm going right now. So, yeah, thanks a lot, man.
Yeah, no, it's all good, dude. I definitely want to pick your brain on all that. I also want to say shout out to Woke Smokey B-Dub with 1,000 bit cheers, man. That's how Von Daddy does it. When the main eventer gets here, you better knuckle up, man. Put it on there. Yeah, we're just starting to do headlines, man. You're welcome to hang out if you want to. Beast, go ahead.
I will say I do have to also put over one of my favorite Von Lilas moments is when we had the Beginners Battle Royal, which literally is what we called it on TV. And I believe it was literally just the guys in the beginners class. And I think whoever won was going to get a shot at TV. And then the match starts and goes for about a minute or so, and then all of a sudden Von Lilas comes out of nowhere, gets in the ring, chops the shit out of everybody, throws everyone over the top rope, and says nobody gets something along the lines of Battle Royal's over.
I was the winner.
Yeah, you were the winner. So
I was the winner, and they were welcome to pro wrestling, boys. I remember saying that.
Wrestling boys.
I was the winner, and the jacked up dude,
Big Cat.
No, it wasn't Big Cat. It was another dude with blonde hair.
Thought he was over. He was bald. No, he was actually kind of balding. Wore a bandana. God, what the hell was his name? He never came back.
He never
came back after that match.
Ruben, the ref, was in there with the mask on, and he's tiny too, dude. Lilas is just killing these guys. You can go to my YouTube, search Beginners Battle Royal, and you will see chops like you just annihilate.
It sounds like a shotgun is going off. Just bam.
My God.
I can't remember that name.
I can't remember it either. They say it in commentary in there.
Yeah, but, they do. Mighty Mike, was that it?
Oh yeah, Mike. Yeah, Mighty Mike.
Nobody went by Mighty Mike, I think. He had a couple practices, but was always kind of hurt, so he always just kind of watched, like flexing all the time. And then he showed up for the Battle Royal, and then he never came back after that. Mighty Mike.
The one kid got shit canned over the top too and took the full flip bump.
That
was a good bump.
And it was the last guy too, so it even made it that much better. And it was out in front of the hard cam, in front of the announcer desk. Oh, that was probably the best thing in the match right there.
Well, I mean, I don't know. Those shotgun blasts go off. Why is it you can chop harder than anybody else on the planet?
Say it again.
Why do you think it? Why is it? Is it your baseball experience?
I can tell you that my shoulder right now to this day is paying for those chops. It just kills me. And I know it's from just being jarring into people all that time, because I threw it out a couple times in practices, but I would say the link, just being lanky, long, lanky limb type of thing.
Just a natural whip, crap.
Yeah, because I pitch. I actually was a pitcher left-handed, but I chop right-handed, and it's really not the same motion. So I don't think really pitching had anything to do with it. And I tell you the other thing, I practiced a lot, man. I got the shit beat out of me. I was in my first Battle Royal with Flash Flanagan, Trash, Rod Steele. Those guys just they beat the hell out of me until you started actually chopping back. And Rip told me from day one, until you learn how to do it, protect yourself, and start giving it back, they're going to keep doing it to you over and over again. So then I actually practiced on those dummies too. You remember the dummy? I actually practiced on the dummies and would just get my hand purple. And, the first couple of times, I was like, all right, I'm going to do it. And I would just, boom, light somebody up back. And it was like, holy shit. Well, then, it was like, all right, we're not gonna fuck with him anymore. So can I cuss on here? I can cuss on here, right? We're not gonna fuck with him anymore. So yeah, that worked. You pop those first couple, leave a couple marks, and then the rest is history, pretty much.
When you got me, that was a motherfucker, man. I mean, it just became trial by fire of your initiation in OVW was to get lit up by you. So it was a badge of honor, but it was one that you were going to pay your dues there. I was, we were in Charlestown or Seymour, I can't remember, and it was you and Dinsmore versus Insurgency. Everybody was in on it except for me, obviously. And it was stunner finish, and I was supposed to feed it and take the third one. Instead, I got double chicken winged by Dinsmore. Ripped my shirt down. My shirt was shredded instantly in one Von Lilas tear, and then I got 3 while I was just full tits out and I couldn't move my arms, just devastated. And I ran to the back screaming, dude. Blood vessels were popped in my chest, all that green and purple shit, dude. That I never wanted to take that shit again, but I wanted to see everybody else get it for sure.
Yeah, those are actually the worst on me when somebody's holding you back.
Yeah, there's no like.
There's no give. There's no, especially if you're.
Yeah, I felt really bad for you. I was like, I hope I didn't hurt him.
I'll tell you,
I remember that night. That was a lot of fun, man. Nick, anytime you can do anything with Nick Dinsmore, Eugene, man, it's always going to be a treat. He carried me a lot early. You got to realize when I started, I was in the contract class and I didn't have a contract. There was only a handful of us that, there was 40 guys down there with contracts, and then there was like 5 in the class with Rip that didn't, until they had a couple of those OVW tryouts, that gimmick where you could come and try out to pay $1,000 to come, to OVW or whatever it was, which was whatever. It was fine. But, we added a couple more guys not under contract, but they were quote unquote, camp recruits or whatever. So we still didn't have that many, but, so yeah,
like you and JTG and maybe Santino.
Well, there was probably other guys. Well, back in those days, you had other guys like Outlaw Ben Woods. I would say
he came from the camp.
Seth Skyfire, Spade.
So when I started, I was in Jeffersonville. Nick was my trainer at the old building. So at that old building, it was like Mike Taylor, who ended up getting moved up to the advanced class, the contract class. Remember Mike Taylor? You guys know Mike Taylor, right?
So good. Yeah, he's still working.
Seth Skyfire would drive on the weekends from Alabama with Melissa Coates and a couple other people. They would come every weekend from Alabama and make that drive. Bam Bam Penders, who's now doing a lot of work, is like Elia Boratz or some shit.
Yeah, Elia Boratz. Yeah, he's doing the Jewish gimmick.
Yeah, so Bam Bam, he was in college. He was like 19 at U of L. He got moved up. Nick Stuber was a guy. Ben Woods was a guy. So there was there was a handful of guys then that went from the old school to the new school and got in Rip's class when they brought in so it was right after basically like when Cena and Orton and those guys were getting called up, and it was that new crew. I remember like, I don't know, Mad Morgan, Carlito, John Morrison. It was, Jeter.
Yeah, squad.
What's his name? Mark Magnus, Seven, Bane, Red Dog, all those guys. It was just a
who's who.
John Heinrich, Mac Johnson was in that group as a non-contract that got a contract. See, Seth, Mike Taylor, Mac Johnson, Tank, all those guys were non-contract guys. Mondo that end up getting contracts, but they all started non-contract down there.
Yeah.
That was a crazy cutthroat time in the training people to be cutthroat, having to go deal with a JBL or a Triple H at that time versus now where everyone is soft as butter. Everybody is so soft, bro.
Well, the thing there too, you had the contract guys basically telling on Rip that he was too hard on him, bitching that we were doing too much and saying he was, too rough with him or whatever. But then you had the non-contract guys that wanted to do all of it because we wanted to get contracts. But then you didn't want to step on the contract guys' toes and show them up, so to speak, because you would pay for it in other ways. But then, so it was – and then they didn't really ever want to get in the ring with you because they thought they were so much better than you because they had contracts and you didn't. And then you didn't want to try to hurt them because they had contracts and you didn't. So, it was what it was. It was – I loved every minute of it. You did walk on eggshells a little bit here and there, but with Rip, Rip didn't give a shit. So you had to ultimately do your thing because if not, you were going to get it from Rip and you didn't want to get it from Rip. So
I love, that's what you guys are getting here Monday Locker Room with the run-in, man. That's why I send these links out. and you never know who's gonna make their shiner, because you're not gonna get this on any other paid show, and you're not even gonna get it on the dudes we got respect for who are workers. Like, this is the real deal of what the snake style is behind the scenes, and all that he just explained is unsaid most of the time. It's done with, are you going to make that move, and who's watching, and do you care? And if you do care, that means you're playing the game. All these Cold War covert tactics are constantly going on with guys who just want to get a job. And if you get a job, that means you're taking somebody's job possibly. So they don't want to sell for you. And then behind the scenes, they are doing that, especially when it got harder. Even I think when Nova was the liaison between the office and whatnot, like those tactics of, I don't know, at that time with Cena and those guys, you'd speak to it better than I would, obviously. Was it as cutthroat? I just remember like the Mike Cruel era. It was pretty fucking nasty there for a while, bro.
Yeah, I was I wasn't, I don't think, from what I saw, I wasn't in class with those guys like Cena and those guys, but I feel like that was kind of the first crop of developmental. So they were just coming in. They were at the old building, the small building. Now I know that the guys that were the OVW originals, remember like Vito and Guido. I know some of them came back to those old OVW shows. Vic the Bruiser and Jason Lee. Some of those guys. Now they had their own issues when WWE brought in Cena, Orton, those guys. I really
their spots got taken.
Say it again.
I said, sure, yeah, their spots got taken.
Oh yeah, so
no one really has a spot, but people think
they built OVW, never really made any money, and they were there to obviously try to get their contract. But then when WWE sent all their guys in, I mean, it took Nick a long time still after that to get a contract. I mean, Nick was one of the, Rob Conway, the Bashams, Danny and Doug, they were all there that made it. But then you had another 10 guys, 15 guys, whatever it was, that basically got shit on and pushed out. But that's the business. That's how it goes. I mean,
how come you're not in as good shape as Conway?
The Iron Man, baby. I told Beast last time he was at my house, Iron Man said,
"This is a good story. I like that."
Yeah, I was at a show in Seymour. I was actually wrestling my cousin. If you want to see a chop fest, I ripped all his hair out, man. My cousin, first time ever. He's telling me in the back all the stuff he's going to do. And I was like, no. So I just rip all his hair out, all his chest hair out, and just chop him to death. But then I turn, because it's my cousin in our hometown. That's how stupid they all were in the setup anyway. So I had to make a swerve. I turned on my guy. I was secretly training my cousin, turned on the other guy. We held him, beat the hell out of him. Anyway, Rob Conway was on the card. Damn, Conway, looking good, buddy. Hey, I'm the Iron Man. When you call yourself the Iron Man, you got to be the Iron Man 24/7 for your whole life. I have to do this forever now. I'm the Iron Man. I was like, well, the Iron Man. You can't call him anything different. Have you seen those pictures of him on Facebook?
Dude,
crazy.
Insane.
Ribs on him, I guess.
Yeah.
Ribs on me, brother.
Yep. The one time he said he hadn't had a donut in like 5 years or something. He was in the back. I remember Nick had a box of donuts, and Nick was trying to test himself not to eat them. He bought them just to see if he had the willpower not to eat them. Yeah. And I remember Conway saying something. Well, hell, I hadn't had a donut in 5 years. That's easy. Like he was the Iron Man. He wasn't tempted one bit. Now Nick was tempted. Nick wanted to eat those donuts. Iron Man, he didn't. He didn't.
And Nick probably did. Nick probably bought him to do that spot to pop, get something out of Conway, even
knowing he was going to eat the whole box anyway.
Knowing he was shit right in front of him.
Yeah.
That from the chat room, they want to know what would happen if you stepped out of line and you went over on somebody, and then what? Well, I mean, one thing is there would be a stooge report of the contract guys right to whoever it was. Who was before Nova? Paul Hamin would have been the liaison.
Johnny Ace was the guy when I was down there.
Yeah, Dreamer too for a short time.
Dreamer, yeah.
Dreamer, yeah. They would. I mean, ultimately a couple things would happen. One, you would either get the shit beat out of you in a match because Rip, we did all those weekend shows at the time. I'm sure they still do or whatever, but we did all the house shows, spot shows, whatever the hell they're called. And Rip, a lot of times, if you were a non-contract guy, if you got a match, it was typically against contract guys. It wasn't really non-contract versus non-contract. So they would either take it out on you on the ring, especially if it was about a royal, or they would just go up to the office and tell on Rip, hey, he's got these non-contract guys in class that are going to hurt us. That was kind of a common thing. Because then there would be times when Rip would keep us out, with those guys. I remember, doing a 6-man, and I was the only non-contract. I was the heel, and Rip had me leading it for the, everybody else. But Rip also, even though he would give me opportunities, he would shit on me as well. Like a 6-man, it would be the very first thing. Ding, get the fuck out of my ring. So now we all get kicked out of the ring, 6 of us, me and 5 contract guys. Just get kicked out of the ring because of me, So Rip's going to put me in those spots as well, which only makes you better in the long run. Now, I could have done 1 or 2. I could have bitched and said how it wasn't fair, which with my history with Rip, that's not going to happen. But, that's how some guys would take it. They would cry about it, and wrestling's not fair, and I'm going to go tell somebody. Or you just learn from it and fucking get better the next time. I got kicked out of the ring 3 times that day. He did it to me 3 times. He put me then later, like in another 6-man to lead with contract. Ding, get the fuck out of my ring. So I got kicked out of the ring 3 times that day with all contract people. Was I getting a little heat that day? Yeah, it was.
But I will say you're right though. I never thought about it. That is a great teaching technique by Rip, because you're basically are putting yourself out there, and you didn't want to get dinged in practice. You wanted to look like you knew how to work and wanted to not get dinged, and so you were constantly trying to work a better match because you didn't want Rip to, in the middle of the match, ring the bell and say get the fuck out, because he would. I got dinged quite a few times myself.
To me too, that's where you learn right or wrong, and you wanted to try things, so you would do it anyway. And for me, I'd always talk to Rip about it anyway. I remember getting kicked out of the ring with Melissa Coates because we tried to leapfrog. I let her try to leapfrog me in a spot, one of the blow-up spots or whatever. And, of course, it didn't work too well when I'm 6'5" and she can't jump. So we got kicked out of the ring. And I was talking to Rip after, and he was calling me a stupid motherfucker or whatever. And I said, well, I just wanted to try it. Where else you going to try it if you can't try it in practice? So I would come back at him a little bit. Hell, I wanted to try. I got kicked out of the ring, so who gives a shit, really? I mean, I tried what I wanted to try, and it didn't work, and got kicked out. Hey, I didn't try it again. Just think if it would have worked, though, man. Melissa Coates leapfrogging Von Lawless, it would have been the best thing ever.
If it would have worked, maybe you can go back and fight your sister in your hometown. I put my money on your sister over you all day.
Oh, yeah. Oh, well, sure. She beat me up my whole life. She used to hold me down, put my arms down, the knees on it, and she would have a hawker just hanging over me as I'm laying there. And then she would suck it up, and then it would hang, and then eventually it would fall right in my face.
Oh, shit.
She beat me up, man.
She's an
I'll
awesome.
teach you, Clint.
A hawker in the face gimmick, man. That was great.
Hey, guess what? After we go over on you, she's going to get that spot in again, too.
I chased her around the house with a butcher knife after that, though. I got it back. That's a true story. Get around the kitchen table running with the butcher knife, just chasing her.
Dude, that would have been a good – I mean, we got Butcher and Blade now with in AEW, but you definitely have that Daniel Day-Lewis. Somebody earlier said Dennis Miller. Obviously, we can see that. Babe, I can see it on you. But, I think you got a lot of Daniel Day-Lewis leading man in you too, man. That Gangs of New York Butcher character, you are very, very similar in my opinion.
Awesome, boys. Well, I know you probably got shit to do. I got a phone call in 9 minutes that I got to prepare for. So
not a problem. I want to get a segment, an extra when Beast comes out there next time. We kind of asked Rip about how, because he's known you since you were a baby, so I'd like to get your perspective the other way around on it and how you looked at Rip from your childhood all the way coming up through. I think there's some interesting takes there that our audience would love to hear, man. But it's always good.
I got a lot of insight growing up with that stuff, man, especially promoting shows and coming to the house. I tell tons of stories about that stuff.
I look forward to hearing them, man. I think it's going to be great stuff. Go ahead, Beast.
Lilas, before you go, can you show us what kind of arts and crafts you're working on today?
Well, they're not my arts and crafts, but I can give you. I don't know what this is.
Oh wow, look at that!
Wow.
I think it's is it a fluffer?
We do.
I think.
Yeah, I think so.
I think that's what I'm going to pull out of my jacket next time in Seymour when we got to go over strong.
Do a lot of painting. Painting.
Nice. Wow.
So I got a 3 and a 5-year-old, soon to be 4 and 5.
You're definitely getting better with those drawings, Lilas. You're definitely getting better. You can tell.
Thanks a lot. I appreciate that. They won't watch me in one of the only matches I have on YouTube is me versus the Big Cat, but every time I turn it on, they say, we're not going to watch this again, are we? You always lose the Big Cat.
Oh, when I get that one recut, man, of you versus Fanger and Susio along with APOC, man, that the match is phenomenal, and I can't wait to have him see that, dude. I'll definitely send it your way. But it's Chopper Von Lilas, Daddy, hot shot, give me one.
Yeah.
Come on, give me the
the fingers, baby. I tried to get APOC over with the fingers. He'd probably still be in WWE if he would have used the fingers, but no, he probably wouldn't do it, man. So
appreciate you, Daddy, bro. Yeah, there you go. That was a good ass run in, right? You guys kick from the studio. I'll kick them. Kick guest. Hacha.
Bam. Good old Lilas.
Oh, so yeah, good shit, man. It doesn't do him justice to see him sitting there. The guy is stretched out. He is a supreme athlete, and when he chops somebody, the Big Show. Shh, quiet the audience, and the Big Show hits you. That's 70% of what Von Lilas lays in on an average, bro. When that guy, he's just built to chop people, man. He ribs on him with the shoulder, but everybody's shoulder's fucked up. Mine is from going into the post, all that shit.
We didn't talk about it, but I always liked when guys, they would take the initial chop to the chest and then think turning around was going to protect them from taking further chops, but then he would just chop you in the back. And a lot of times that hurt even worse. Yeah. And I usually got the double chop, both hands, and then the back break. Yeah.
I fell victim to it. Absolutely. Yeah. People are like, why you wrestle with a shirt on? A, because I'm fat, and B, because it takes about 10% off of Von Lilas's heat. Yeah. So. But
that was invaluable advice I learned from Rip too. Especially if you're a smaller guy in the business and you're in there with bigger guys, you have to give it back, or they will just. You'll shorten your own career by not giving it back.
You ain't giving it back to. It don't matter. You got to give it back to them, but you're not.
Well, I'm just saying you got to let them know that you're not going to just take advantage of me in the ring.
Sure.
And you know what I mean? They aren't going to do it as much if you start hitting back. I learned that.
I had to do it much. I had to slow down Muhammad Hassan because he fucking cranked me 5 times in the face, but he hadn't worked in 10 years. So I was like, all right, maybe one of those is because fuck you, you're doing my gimmick and you look like shit, but whatever. But no, me and Mark are cool with that. And to slow him down, I had to fucking bust him back and beat him in the ring. And then I gave him the fucking Haku thumb right in the fucking neck. And I stuck it, bro, about a 3/4 of an inch into his neck. He was bleeding it, but I had to slow him down. Like he fucking cranked me in the jaw 5 times, 5 right hooks in the fucking face, bro. I was like, okay, enough. But with Von Lilas, chops are supposed to be real. That's what Rip tells us. Like, if you can't take a chop, the pain of a chop, you shouldn't be in this business. Okay, I get it. And from most guys, it'll still hurt. From Von Lilas, it's a different experience altogether. A Von Lilas chop, I'd rather get punched in the face by fucking Muhammad Hassan, who's jacked as fuck, swinging full force, than take one Von Lilas chop. I'd rather take the face punch, bro. That's how hard this guy chops, because he's built like what was the pitcher from the Mariners, the guy who had the mustache, the white guy? He looked like a dirty white boy. Somebody help me out. Fucking he pitched for a bunch in the World Series, but he's stretched out like that, dude, and he fucking is a beast. So he's got all the knowledge of the original workers in him. And I look forward to talking business with him as well, because he's got a brilliant mind. And he's also, like you said, he said, a 20-year teacher. So he's going to be able to take how Rip's method, his own method of teaching, and really be able to convey something I think special and value wise for Patreon marketing subscribers. So Randy Johnson, exactly. Randy, dude, that's Von Lilas is the fucking wrestling Randy Johnson. And I'm telling you, when you know how hard Randy Johnson throws, you wouldn't want to stand in the pocket and take one of those pitches to the chest. That's the equivalent of getting chopped by Von Lilas. So, y'all, man. Let's get back to these shitty headlines. What a great run-in. I'll try and cut some of them. Young Bucks on getting their shirts on Hot Topic. We can cut that one. Let's see here. Holy shit. Now the computer's acting wild. Backstage news on Vince McMahon approving 4 matches for TLC. Apparently, the pay-per-view was up in the air for December 20th. So we're 20 days out, and they're just putting the rubber stamp on 4 matches. I don't even care. I'm not going to name them because they'll stooge them off tonight on Raw. But that's a problem, right, Beast? When they're saying, we write TV a year ahead of time. Yeah, to our stockholders and to the question askers from Forbes and Variety and whatever the fuck. But the reality is they didn't even have the cards set long-term business more than 3 weeks, where you, myself, and Power would have 3 months ready to fucking go when we're writing TV.
Right. But I'll say, to play devil's advocate, we just had one show to worry about, but I also think that essentially is at the root of the problem. They literally are trying to push so much content that it's more quantity versus quality, and it's starting to, not starting to, it showed for a while now, but and I think that's in essence the biggest part of the problem, because imagine if they didn't have as many shows and they actually were able to take the time and map out stories that they were trying to tell over several weeks and get people emotionally invested in these characters and in these stories. All of a sudden that means something, but you shotgun to announce 4 matches on one night 3 weeks ahead of time. It's like, well, it's not meaningful. What are you selling? If you're selling too many things at once, then you're not selling anything. And it just goes to taking the time to craft the story so that each part of these stories can have their spotlight and get people emotionally invested. And unfortunately, this style of booking is not going to be conducive to doing that. They need to be thinking more long term, and it seems like they're making a lot of short term decisions.
Well, they've got a spot open to be the Raw and SmackDown head writer. So
I applied, still haven't gotten a call. It's like, okay, can't even get an interview, which is
they just don't.
Crazy of itself.
That shows you how fucked they really are. It's not about you and me,
right.
It's about them. And how broken their machine is, bro.
Well, if they get the right Hollywood writer, surely that'll change everything.
That'll be like the one guy who wrote that one episode of the Afterlife or whatever.
Give me 1 second here. My computer's giving me the alert's going to shut down. I don't want to do that, so I'll let you keep going.
Yeah, I'll go for it. Update on Braun Strowman. Raw, Braun Strowman put his hands on WWE official Adam Pearce and landed him in an indefinite suspension. The reasons for suspension was due to Strowman sustaining a knee injury, confirmed on the latest Observer. Severity isn't known, but Meltzer-Seltzer reports the impression he got was Strowman was not going to be at TLC on December 20th, and he's not going to be at 2CW on December 20th because I had that show canceled as well. So no bookings on December 20th for Braun Strowman. You dork. As noted earlier, TLC card was still up in the air. So I don't know when how he hurt his knee. I know that when guys get super jacked super fast, a lot of times injuries happen because our muscle skeletal structure isn't set to handle that kind of stuff. So whether it was Heath Slater with the inguinal hernia or Braun with his knee, and who knows, when you're that size, your knee could be jacked up from anything just carrying that amount of weight. But I also think when you put on shit tons of muscle mass that fast, your body doesn't know how to react to it. Not that your knee is a big muscle or anything like that, but who knows, maybe twisted a deer hunting.
Oh, who knows?
Mike Tyson, you might have heard of him. He draws with Roy Jones Jr. in a boxing comeback. Phony as shit, a bunch of dumb hip hop. performances that didn't mean anything. Then Snoop did some stuff. The big news is not that was a complete work and a draw. Is that the fucking YouTube star knocked out the NBA guy? Was it Paul Logan? Fucking dude, it's meme fantastic, bro. Of old boy getting knocked out. So that was it. Logan Paul. I think that he wants Conor McGregor or Mayweather. I mean, the dude's just in the gym and he's made himself celebrity wise through character and doing the hard back it up. And he just slept a NBA athlete. So he knew that's world star-licious, and he's playing the internet the right way. This guy's a draw, man. Jake Paul, is it? Yeah, Jake Paul. Whatever the fuck. He looks like Vanilla Ice. You want to punch him in the face. And if he keeps taking the right celebrity boxing opponents, this guy knows how to make fucking money, bro.
Is he portraying himself as a heel, I guess?
He is beforehand, but now in the after, he pays respect to fight and boxing.
Okay, I was gonna say if he was played up the hill, he should get Vanilla Ice to take him out to the ring and get some good heat.
That would be good. That would be good. But the guy is money on an undercard now. He's proved it. Billy Body says Braun was going to fail a drug test. That's why I was taken off TV. Of course he was. Of course. Yeah, you can blame it. I'm sure he's got a knee injury too. This is what we're talking about when we talk to Von Lilas, you guys. I don't think you really understand what you even heard, and it's not your guys' fault. When you hear about non-contract guys with contract guys and guys who have contracts who just want to get to TV to then hopefully not be buried by DX or for whatever reason, and they're practicing cutting throats on guys who are paying their own dime to learn the craft, and they're sweating it because they don't want to do the hard work that these guys are doing because it's a labor of love for them because they already have a comfortable spot and a paycheck, and then they know that they can get outshined in the ring. So that forces them to do political and little stooge things to cut each other's throat. And that goes on all the time where a non-contract guy, it goes through his mind, oh, I'm getting in the ring and I'm going to do something. But if I outshine this guy who's contract, who's got an attitude problem, when he leaves here, he's going to go make a fucking phone call and fuck me up. Then somebody's going to call Rip and be like, why do you have contract guys with non-contract? That's a liability on our investment. Stop doing that. So the non-contract guys who are paying get sidelined or just become quick under guys to get squashed, which is fine. That's what you're getting an opportunity to be on TV. That's what Man Beast did better than anybody else. But then there comes a time when guys get better.
And people hated me too whenever I got an opportunity.
The contract guys and Jamin Olivencia is better than 90% of your contract.
Yeah, I told someone that had heat with the locker room, they hated him. But it was because he a lot of times outperformed them. Most nights he outperformed them.
and he became the tag team champion non-contract, and they were hot. And that was also
but in part they had to make him because he was getting over with the crowd. That was getting his ass kicked when he was just supposed to be a job guy, but he started getting over because he brought that intensity every time he was out there.
This isn't a constant ongoing game where nobody says it to your face, but you know what's going on and it gets back to you that somebody made a call. But unless you're not kind of like me, I wouldn't have done it at the time because I was young, not young, but I had to mind my business the right way.
Yeah, so you're new to the business.
Right. And fucking, you can either walk up to somebody's face and be like, you got a fucking problem, which means then they got you because you broke the fucking Cold War game and you're handling it like a man, how they should. But that's not what they want to see in wrestling. They want to see you be able to play the Cold War game, and that will get you up the ranks quicker than dissolving the problem because they love this shit backstage more than they love the creative and what goes on. And it's the sick part of wrestling. And Von Lilas explained it perfectly, but unless you live it and you see it and you see guys broken from it, like when they can get to Damian Sandow and shit, and he's like having panic attacks backstage, a guy whose talent is fucking immeasurable, whose ability to tell a story and draw is immeasurable, but it's more important to fuck with him. That's fucked up, man. Like, and unless you live that at a wrestling level, you'll never know about it. But Von laid it out perfectly, dude.
For everyone that rises to the surface, there's a hand being pushed down on someone else to keep them under the water,
at least,
so to speak. And this has been going on a long time. Not to sidetrack again, but as Rip and I were discussing on one of the recent podcasts, he even recognized that back in the day, like when you would come into a territory, if you came across as someone that seemed to know more or be smart to the business, you were a lot of times held down because they didn't want someone that was possibly going to be smarter than them or be able to out maneuver them politically. And so Rip learned that, and then later on would go into a territory and just play dumb because he knew that was part of the game. In order for him to get opportunities, he had to play up like he wasn't smart to the business, just so that way he wasn't pushed down by the other guys. It's crazy. It's sad. And you see it in other lines of business too. I think there are certainly people, I'm sure, in the chat right now that can even relate to, being a hard worker at your job, and yet you're, still placed in the same role over and over instead of getting a promotion because someone can see that you're a good, well, I guess it's a little bit different, but basically keep you held down because you're a good cog in the machine instead of getting the opportunities because you're busting your ass and deserve to get pulled up. It's like, oh no, this guy's willing to bust his ass down below. Let's keep him there. You know what I mean? And it's crazy how in business, and not just in wrestling, that it seems to be the people that a lot of times that are the best are often pushed down the most.
Absolutely. And Russo and Stevie would rib me now, like, you're too smart for them. They'd never let you. They're just too smart. They won't. So I'm like, well, that's how's that working out for them? NHL, I'm not sure who you are kayfabe wise from the business, but what if you're strong in faith and you don't let them to get, I don't know what to tell you, man. If you're in the wrestling business, and I don't want to shit on GGP and Stevie, but their God belief to me is so fucking phony. And how can you be a wrestler and believe that shit? Because religion's as big a work as that. Well, religion isn't God. Well, now we're splitting hairs, and you're just doing this, that, and the other. We can go down this conversation on 50 different conspiracy horsemen. You're either a good person or you're not. And at the same time, you have to play the politics to be in this business. You're not going to come into here like fucking, a babe in the woods with all the innocence. And if I just play it right, I'm going to get through because God's on my side. No.
I would say the only thing to that, I'd say if that helps you sleep at night, sure. But at the end of the day, you're still going to have to play the political game, no matter what. No matter what your beliefs are, you're going to have to play.
Ain't the biz for you at the end of the day. You got to know how to be a snake. You got to be part psychopath, and you got to love and know how to fucking nurture that and do it.
But the difference is when you're in that spot, then that's your opportunity to do the right thing and help bring other people up rather than pushing people down. And there are, and we talk about the negatives a lot, but there's certainly guys like that are that way. I could say someone like Rip puts him over all the time, like a William Regal is someone that looks out for guys that know their shit and tries to help pull them up when he can. You know what I mean? And now he's in a management spot where he can do that. So there are good eggs in wrestling too that are helpful. Unfortunately, there's all too many ones that are the opposite.
Mm-hmm. But if you fucked with him, he can end you like that.
Yeah, that's true too.
It's about being, to me, it's about being the shogun. It's about being the samurai, and you have these swords that have to remain sharp and deadly, but you only use them when you absolutely need to. There's a lot of guys who had sharp swords who would just go around cutting shit to show that they could fucking do it. That's the difference between having power and wielding it properly versus just knowing that you have it to fuck up everything and create chaos. But you better be ready to walk on the battlefield. And trust me, ain't no fucking God above or below gonna protect you walking through that. You just have to have sharp swords.
Yeah.
So
very well said.
Top Star reportedly pulled from TLC due to main event injury. That's Braun follow-up. Never mind. Glad we can skip that. Former ROH CNA star Jimmy Rave ends his pro wrestling career due to an arm amputation. Wow. Indie veteran wrestling star Jimmy Rave, best known for his time in ROH and TNA, announced today that an unexpected amputation will force the end of his 20-plus professional wrestling career. Rave 37 announced on Twitter that this weekend he had been gritting through an issue with his left arm. By the time he went to see a doctor, infection was found serious enough to require amputation above the elbow. Oof. I've been very blessed for the last 21 years in pro wrestling and getting to live out my dream today. That dream has ended for me. I appreciate everyone who supported me or has pegged me with a roll of toilet paper. To my brothers and sisters I've shared the ring or in the locker room with, thank you for pushing me to be better. Thank you for all my mentors and students who allowed me to still feel needed. This is the hardest thing I've ever had to type. But yeah, he's hanging him up because of that. But, you know, still, bro, like maybe hanging him up in the ring, but this guy's got 21 years of experience. Now he's got the gimmick arm. Get a 3D printed arm and get some crazy shit and become a manager.
Sure, yeah, work it.
And a mic guy, bro. You don't got to be in the ring. This guy's got tons to offer. And losing the arm is longevity, and fucking get a cool 3D printed arm that, you know, if my shit was up and running, could be done in 2 or 3 days. And now you can make money on pics and nostalgia and empathy, and somebody can rip it off and do whatever with it, man. There's plenty to do that way. So I think a true performer career, this guy's going to just turn this into gold, but it is sad for him that he'll, you know, not be able to lock up and pull a match, but let him get heat on you, bro, and you can get somebody over. That's all.
Crazy to see these wrestlers losing their limbs, because I saw a similar story with Melissa Coates. I think lost her leg as well. It was a below knee or no, above knee amputee, which is, you know, even harder.
That's what happens when you leapfrog Von Lilas.
That's what happens. Well, in all seriousness, though, it's one of those things that, you know, I think wrestlers are notoriously bad for taking good care of their health. And I actually, many years ago, I'd say about 10 years ago, was in a situation where I actually found out after the fact that I could have lost my arm at the elbow because I got a staph infection in the ring and just kept putting it off because I thought it was just like a bug bite or something. And then it kept getting worse. And finally I went to follow up on it, and they're like, thank goodness you came, because the infection was working its way into the joint, and once that joint becomes septic, it gets really hard to save. Not necessarily, but at that point, there's a high chance you're gonna lose that part of your body, and so it's scary. Take care of your shit. If you have a sore that's getting worse over a couple of days, at least go to an immediate care center and get it looked at just to make sure, because if it's an infection, you can be very fucked very quickly.
And Nine Fingers Dewey would have been super hot at you, taking his gimmick.
That was another. That still gives me chillies. The dude, just for those that don't know, old tag team partner sits down in one of those folding metal chairs. It's supposed to have those rubber stoppers between the gimmick that keeps the chair open. Well, this chair didn't have it. Went to sit down. His fingers were inside that wedge. Clipped his finger right off his hand. Yeah, that sucks.
Nine Fingers Dewey.
Nine Fingers Dewey after that.
Do-Rod, miss you, buddy. Top Impact Wrestling contract reportedly expires at the end of 2020. Looks like all ego Ethan Page, one half of the tag team in the North, may be available to go wherever, and in the best shape he's ever been, gets himself over. And we talked about this on the Impact Attack. They had him lose the Hornswoggle doing an AJ Styles rib when he could have got over on him with heat and gotten the rib over as well with the Good Brothers. Just didn't do the right business, but maybe now they're doing that as a punishment to put Swoggle over, and he does it with a smile on his face, knowing it'll get a little bit done, but maybe he's on his way out the door, so he's just doing that. You know, a guy who's got money written all over him that was at FCW, they let go, and I could see WWE being very interested with him. I know he's boys with Kingston and all those guys too, but I think most of the time I'm like, I think they do better in AEW. I think Ethan Page could do well. He's WWE ready and WWE style made.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I think he can go a long way in there. Potentially, as long as they don't mess it up. But I think he has all the potential in the world to make it. You just
got to give him the mic time, and he can deliver their scripted stuff that's usually crap and make gold out of it. That's what he can do storytelling-wise. Through his facials and inflections, he's very much a theatrical actor.
True. And he's someone that can get into the moment, and despite the writing that can sometimes be choppy, still deliver just good performances, and that's what's going to shine and help get him over.
Mm-hmm. I agree. So we'll see. I mean, I like the North. I would assign both of those guys to NXT. That's a great tag team. And to see them do only partial business left me scratching my head, because I know the minds over there are smart, but those same minds are also cutthroat. And what we talked about, now look at him. Now, not that Hornswoggle hates Ethan or there's some big conspiracy against him, but look from a management standpoint of how to tear a guy down who doesn't sign your contract, who's out looking for other things. You do the midget spot. Ethan goes, I see this coming. He gets it over in a comedic way, so he's not fully buried, and we know it's a comedy match, and Hornswoggle has to do the business that management wants him to do, and they do it. It plays out in a locker room setting much more, okay, I understand why now, and a little vindictive, you know. Ethan Page also pulled from final 2020 indie match as COVID-19 precaution. Supposed to be, he had to pull out his December 4th booking against Drake Daniels for ACW in Wisconsin. After coming into contact with an individual for COVID-19, Meltzer reported this past week that someone did test at Impact positive for it. The promotion had already wrapped production on an episode to take them through the Hard to Kill pay-per-view in January. So it's reported that his contract is also going to expire. So, you know, that could be an easy worker way to get out of a date if they want you to sign and you had dates, you know what I mean?
Sorry, I got COVID, bro.
Yeah. I mean, who's going to dispute it? You know, like,
yeah.
Not so,
or even better, you just say, I was with I have to quarantine. I was with someone that had it. So then you can't even, you don't have, you know, what are you going to send in then?
Yep. But if WWE wanted him to not do those shows, that's an easy way to get out of it as well.
Yeah.
All kinds of us.
Shady, but
yeah. 40 strong here at twitch.tv/conspiracy horseman.
Yeah.
This morning, appreciate you. See all you guys, Media on 5, Barry and Young Talent. Boss Hog, they're all in here. I wonder if Barry and Young Talent's Triple H listening.
Probably.
Well, I mean, not really. Triple H is getting Young Talent over. It might be Cena, so we'll see. Sami Zayn reveals he pitched for Liv Morgan to be his great Liberator faction. Be in it. Okay.
Liberate
me.
I do that. I do that on the weekends when I start pounding the beers. That's not liberating. Yeah.
Sami Zayn's a big fan of Liv Morgan. I mean, who isn't? He revealed on Twitter that he had pitched to work with her recently. Liv was the talk of WWE World this weekend following a recent of her WWE documentary, Live Forever, which chronicled her journey on the main roster so far. Wow.
I mean, she's had such a long and storied career that, you know, it just makes sense to have a documentary now, you know?
Wow. Do you think the same writer that was in love with Sasha Banks is now in love with Liv Morgan, and that's why these things happen? At one point, Morgan admitted to being lost as she pitched lots of different ideas that didn't get picked up until she returned during the Bobby Lashley and Lana's wedding. I'm sure she had some great ideas. It appears that one idea could have seen her work with Sami Zayn. The IC champ revealed on Twitter that he actually pushed to have Liv as part of a faction during his Great Liberator persona, where he worked with Shinsuke and Cesaro. While Liv obviously didn't end up joining the group, Sami did praise her on social media, claiming he can't wait to see her one day become women's champ. Oh, won't that be super convincing? A girl who's 5 foot nothing, 110 pounds being your champ once again, just like how AJ Lee was one of the most believable champs of all time.
Well, I guess live and let die.
Strong. Undertaker reveals which matches new wrestling fans should watch. He said, I'd go with Randy Savage and Ricky Steamboat, Granny. And then All Elite Scooby-Doo told me that any match between Ric Flair and Harley Race, a little bit of an egomaniac here, but I would put Undertaker, Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania 25. Modern day recent matches between Edge and Orton, those are 4 that kind of encapsulate what we do best at its highest level. Ugh, Granny.
And I would like to announce I am now passing the torch to Elite Scooby-Doo.
Hell in the Cell versus All Elite Scooby-Doo at Saudi Arabia for a new trophy. Good.
Hashtag over.
Steve Austin discusses what it's like to work with Mike Tyson. It was a blast working with Mike. Bottom line. That's the kind of headlines I like right there, Steve, from Gorilla Position. Asked him what it was like. Jericho put out too that he thought maybe he'd box Tyson. And after this fucking weekend where we had two legit champions pull off some kind of work, I believe that you could make Chris Jericho versus Mike Tyson work now because people just believe Tyson, everything Tyson does is a work from now on. So why not get in there and make the most out of it and let Tyson sleep Jericho? That would be fucking great TV.
Yeah, I agree. Play the cat and mouse game and then finally knocks him out.
He fucking catches him and Jericho just hits him with a body blow. Jericho drops his hand, chins right there.
No, you know what? Something where they end up on the outside. The ref starts the count. Tyson knocks him clearly out. Ref gets to the 10 count. It's a draw. You know what I mean? Play out the real.
Yep.
Even though Tyson clearly killed him, nope, it was a draw.
Everybody feeds for Tyson, and he just legit, everybody gets punched one time. If Jericho's got to get punched, everybody in the inner circle gets punched.
Yeah.
Except MJF. Even Hager goes down. Darby Allin claims there was nowhere else he wanted to go other than AEW. He spoke with Inside the Ropes and said, yeah, I just heard that it was interesting in hiring me. At the moment I heard that, I just blew up his phone. I was like, dude, I need this. Like, there's nowhere else I want to go. I have creative freedom there. This is it. Get me involved. So I just called him from off the hook, talking about Cody Rhodes. Yeah, I'm going to also go, was NXT beating down this kid's door? He's been in the biz for 4 years and had a little indie clout from doing coffin dives to the outside on the indies. Do you think that NXT's like, this is the dude we need? He's saying that he called and begged Cody for a shot and Cody put him over on a buddy thing. To me, that's not the best look.
Wait, who was it that got a spot?
Darby Allin.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I agree. And I will say, just as a side note, I guess not a random side note because it's related, I hate that the coffin drop is becoming a more prominent move in wrestling. I've started to see it on other shows as well, and it's like that's one of the stupidest things I've ever seen. If I ever saw someone do it, I would do the opposite as Cody. I'd say, well, he will never be on my show. Too much of a liability, in my opinion. But, that's just me.
The Bearing Young Talent, the Tyson fight was staged. What drugs are you on? Claritin and Smiths. I agree, it was staged.
That was a work, yeah, for sure. Because there's always more money in the rubber match, and I was wondering how they were going to go for the second match after this. And
watch the promo afterwards. If you don't think the whole thing was a total work, it absolutely was. That beforehand, like the punches are like, here's what they agree to in a boxing work. My punches are going to be 70%, so they look real. Okay, I can take it. What are we going to do? We're going to play cat and mouse. You get to hit me, but don't hit me with nothing knockout. Okay, and then let's go. And then afterwards, try and watch them do the sell on the promo. Totally exposes the whole thing as a work. You want to talk another work? Fucking they had UFC this weekend. This dude from China, he's like a minus 330. I didn't really know him. Su Majirian or something like that.
Oh, he's still around?
Yeah, he's back. He fucking fights this, average fighter that you can swap in anybody from Street Profits, New Day, what have you, right? So he fucking peppers the dude, and then he fucking hits him, and he barely grazes him, and the guy like stops and falls over and fucking dies just because the UFC wants to get into that China market. A total. I mean, I won on the fight, so I was pumped about it because I picked the minus 330, but it was easy money. So anytime that guy fights, bet on him because they want to break into that China market. Total work. So was the Tyson work.
And let's be clear, I'm not faulting them for it. If anything, I kind of see it as admirable because Dana White basically took what was working for pro wrestling back in the day and turned it into, don't get me wrong, there's still some legit knockouts and shit that happens, but there's also certain fights that are crafted to where they can tell us a story that people can follow, where they get emotionally invested in these fighters as characters, and then they pay to see the fight because
the other thing that they're susceptible to that I thought about that it is, they want to break into the China market, which means they're doing biz with them to some degree. But Dana White has a fucking massive gambling issue. And what if they got a fucking hold of him with some high stakes shit in Vegas, and now they're got this dude in there, and they're like, yeah, you can come into the China market, but this guy's going over and worked fights as he's going to be our guy. And there's their heavy money being bet on that fucking dude from outside corporations or whoever, Chinese fucking interests, to make money on him because they know that fight's worked because they got Dana by the balls on something for whatever. I was wondering about that too. Not that's all speculation by me, but interesting.
Either that, or he was slid some nice money under the table from a casino in Macau. You know what I mean?
Fucking Singapore. Prior to working with WWE on a full-time schedule at NXT, Leon Ruff put in plenty of extra work on main roster shows, putting over talents. Ruff impressed during his appearance as an extra, looking good in his work. Clearly, it wasn't just WWE management that was impressed, though, as Ruff revealed several WWE superstars praised him in an interview with TalkSports. He said, quote, I don't like to get into trouble, so I come to work, keep my head down, and do my job. I've been a fan of a lot of these guys for a very long time. I do want to introduce myself, but I don't want to stutter and make awkward eye contact and come off as weird. So I just did the match and stayed to myself, but it was nothing like kind words when I came to the back. Jeff Hardy walked up the stairs in front of me, and I wasn't going to say anything. I was going to let him do his thing, but he stopped, turned around, fist bumped me, and told me how much of a great job I did against Sheamus. Sheamus himself told me how great I did and how much he enjoyed the match, and introduced me to Cesaro, which is really cool. A lot of guys, even if I just say, hey, or what's up, they always give me a fist bump and tell me good job, and that's really cool because they don't have to. But the fact that they not only acknowledge me, but the hard work that I'm doing, that's what's cool. Hey, man, good for that fucking kid, bro. I was impressed with him on AEW, and I thought when they introduced him as Leon Ruff on NXT that was a rib on Leo Rush because he had just gotten released, and that's kind of tough for this kid as Leon Ruff, but maybe they put him in there because of that. But he keeps his head down, does work, and fucking does what they don't want him to do, which is act like a starstruck indie guy dealing with WWE dudes. So he fucking obviously gets it. He's doing good stuff. And people thought putting the title on him might have been a rib, and maybe it was, but who cares? If he can turn that into a shine, fucking more power to him. That's what they did with you, Man Beast.
Yep.
Put the TV title on you, and you fucking got it way more over. Like, that was great times for us when you were TV champ and Jamin was tag champ, because it was kind of like the fuck you of all the non-contract guys of us coming together to support one another versus the snakes in the grass who are cutting each other's throat. And here we are wearing phony titles, but to those guys, it means something because it means something to WWE when you're a contract guy and you got a title in OVW, they're seeing who the next fucking stars are. Well, the next stars were guys who were getting over with character to the crowd as underdogs doing business for the guys with big egos who had the money coming in already.
Yeah. And I'll say also, I did benefit from being in there with a real pro who really wanted to get the business over versus just serving himself. And that was Sean Spears that we had that little run with. And so I have nothing but nice things to say about him because he was always just a pro. He just wanted to get the gimmick over because he knew that was ultimately at the end going to get him more heat. And so that's where he just was very giving as a performer because he knew in the long run it was better business. And
here's the best thing. Sure, he's great. He's handsome. He can wrestle. Spears' best moment always is the shock, what the fuck reaction. When the camera's on him after the fuck happens, you're never more involved and invested in Spears. When he gets angry, the shit with him and Cody was really my favorite stuff ever. I've said that plenty of times. But the anger he can throw on somebody and viciousness is really good. But that shock and awe moment is where he shines the most in character, dude.
Absolutely.
That was great stuff. So good job, Leon Ruff. I hope you keep on your path, dude.
Yeah, I haven't seen much from him, but I will say I did see one match early on when I was reviewing NXT against, I think, Bronson Reed, and it was a really short match, but I remember thinking, and I said it on the review, I'd say he did all the little things correctly. Like, I remember he sold into position versus, moving himself to position or anything. You know what I mean? He made it seem natural, and he just seemed like he got it. And then in that less than a minute, he showed me that he understood the business and how to get it over. And so I was glad to hear that he was getting a little bit of a shine, because even in the small squash matches that I saw him in, I could tell he was able to get those little things right. And a lot of times the simplest things are things people forget about, but they're so important, and he does those. And so kudos for him getting the opportunity.
Good. I wonder if he's a Booker T guy or if he's Gangrel. I know because Susio said I think he trained a little at Sai Dojo as well.
Let's see.
But I'm not sure who trained him. But he does do the small things, the sell on the ropes, sell away to the corner instead of ping pong and whoop, I got to go to this spot, this spot, this spot. No, he does the professional things the right way from what
Looks like AR Fox. I'm not sure who that is.
Okay. AR Fox, dude, was a huge draw in 2CW, probably the best high flyer in the business. But because of some scandalous sex tape stuff, he got blackballed by WWE kind of in 2013. But dude, in 2CW, AR Fox versus anybody was incredible. But we had like AR Fox with the Bucks, AR Fox with Colin and Cheech, just spot fest stuff that is things nobody can do. This kid AR Fox can fly and land on his feet like nobody else. He'll do the thing, instead of the dive to the outside, the guys are on the corner post. He'll run, dive over the post.
Damn.
Hit him. Yeah, dude.
Wow.
And like land like ta-da, like it's nothing. The dude is even more agile than Dre Blitz when Dre Blitz wasn't, when he was at his best. And like
that's impressive.
Yeah, that's the quality of athlete AR Fox is. And it's some Lars Sullivan scandal kind of stuff if he was to get signed, even though he's married to a beautiful woman and whatnot. I mean, the past comes back to fucking get you, right? So it doesn't, that is, I'll put it over. If AR Fox trained him, then he does know the intricacies, and AR Fox makes the fucking miles, bro, or he did when he was at his peak in 2CW. That the fans go crazy for that dude, man, for sure.
Awesome.
Our final story of the day as we wrap it up.
Yeah.
Sasha Banks discusses negotiations process for The Mandalorian. Banks admitted she initially wanted to speak with WWE about the role first, but revealed her manager insisted she spoke with the director, Jon Favreau, first. She says, I felt like I should keep that a secret, don't you think? No, but it's because my memory is so shot. I'm a professional wrestler. I work for WWE. But I remember getting an Instagram DM from a casting director, maybe around the end of the summer. It could have been in September. I honestly can't remember. Instantly, I said, okay, let me ask WWE. But my manager says, no, don't even ask them. Let's just talk to them. Jon Favreau called me. He FaceTimed me and told me he wanted me to be a part of the show. And I was like, oh, my God, yes. And then everything just happened. It was so fast and so crazy. She also discussed what she brought from the wrestling world to her role. The trailer and the first scene, of course, but I really come in. I do a spinning drop kick. I really told them I want to do a lot of my wrestling moves so my friends from WWE would instantly know who I was underneath the helmet, and they were so excited about it. I came in with a drop kick, gave someone a fireman's carry, gave someone a back elbow, and I dive in like only a WWE wrestler can do. And I saved the child Baby Yoda, so I brought all of that, or if you will, Grogu. I got a lot of glitter on the set, too, because it came straight off work, off of my red eyes and straight on set. And I had to transform from Sasha Banks to Mercedes Verdano to Casca Reeves all in an instance. By putting on a helmet, I guess. But she is in Death Watch, and it is cool. I just can't believe WWE didn't come to any agreement with Disney, Favreau. Why wouldn't you have Favreau at the pay-per-view? Why wouldn't you have her in Sith gear, R2-D2 gear, her own Mandalorian type of knockoff gear for the wrestling part? This is where WWE needs the crossover audience more than ever, and through a huge, completely dedicated fan audience that is intertwined with yours, and do all Star Wars fucking month episode, the whole fucking thing. Why isn't Baby Yoda showing up in Firefly Funhouse? Not that they would whore it out, but like a fake version of it. You know what I mean? Like, why isn't there everybody talking about this and selling for it? This is where you could get 500,000 viewers overnight if you wanted to, bro.
I like the idea of the Bray Wyatt. I want to see a scene with the Fiend and Emperor Palpatine just laughing together. Just
why not?
Evilly.
Why not let him play with all the Star Wars? Get the toys over. Get a crossover between them. There's so much opportunity to shine outside of WWE's bubble, and they didn't do fuck all. And I understand there's like a 3 to 5 day leader on it and whatnot. That's fine. That time's passed. We should be balls to the wall pre-Christmas Star Wars wrestling crossover, and we're not even fucking doing anything. Why? Jon Favreau is a major star, from Iron Man to Swingers, the whole nine. He's Americana. Why is he not on one fucking episode of Raw where he is on commentary during Sasha Banks' match getting over? It gives her Hollywood cred. Of course he would do that shit, bro. And we're not even coming close to it. I don't understand it. And it is the biggest ball drop of 2020.
The only thing I can think of is, and again, there's a situation where I feel like they're looking at the short term instead of the long term, but they're possibly with obviously this being Christmas season, they're looking to sell their own merch and don't want to give any shine to a company that also has their own line of merch that they're not getting a cut of, because we've seen they're not afraid to cut the throats of their own talent if it means they're making money and they're not getting a piece of that pie. So it's the same thing, if they put over Star Wars, well, and they're going to buy all the toys and gimmicks and whatever. It's like, yeah, but you're also getting that crossover audience that's going to help increase your viewership over time, because now you're opening up the world of wrestling to people that possibly haven't been following it in recent weeks and months. But instead, they're looking at a short-term money grab, or I guess a short-term money loss as the detriment. And because of that, they end up not doing good long-term business. And that's the real shame of it.
That's spot on. And the other part is they are at shit level right now, and selling out to Disney might be the smartest thing 3 years from now. So why wouldn't we want to open that door to do good biz briz across the fucking board? Instead, it's just Sasha thanking Vince for letting her have the opportunity without any repercussions. Like some Godfather, can I do it, kiss the hand shit, bro. And you see it from her manager. No, don't tell them. They're carny as fuck. Let's get this done. This is way bigger. If you go do Mandalorian and ask for forgiveness instead of permission, they're going to have to put you over. What are they going to fucking fire you after being in the biggest franchise in history? No, you got them by the tits. And her manager's a lot smarter than her being in the bubble. She was ready to go ask. Right?
Jesus. Instead of like, no, that's one of those things. No, you ask for forgiveness instead of permission. I haven't been following her social media, but she absolutely, if they're not going to play it up, she needs to be putting it over. Watch this Friday when it comes on Disney Plus, putting up pictures and videos that she can. And so, that's a huge opportunity.
Knuckles saying, after the man, that he's a dork because he went back and watched, what was it? The animated series Clone Wars. No, dude, go watch Clone Wars.
I just started that a couple weeks ago.
Darth Maul his whole character is fucking way drawn out. Darth Maul goes from a silent ninja murderer to getting cut in half and getting Lieutenant Dan, you got new legs, to becoming like a sarcastic asshole. Like everything he says is like droll and fucking hypothetical and very Shakespearean. Like he becomes like a weird King Lear character. Yeah. And dude, Darth Maul is my favorite. So fucking.
And I will say on this previous episode, I won't do John any spoilers, but I will say, having only seen a little bit of the Clone Wars, seeing one of the prominent characters on that show make their debut on The Mandalorian, I thought that was a cool. So to me, it also illustrates that's an important part of the saga and the story, and that's going to be a backdrop for the Mandalorian characters. Not to get too far into that, because I know we talk wrestling, but storytelling.
She's older too, so that's awesome.
Yeah.
And if you want this type of talk and even more high level, what are you doing? We have Mandomania and the NFO podcast, the home for Star Wars, you guys, with GGP, Alex Arroyo, and the Sith Lord himself over there. So check it out, you guys. They've got their own channel. They're on the affiliate channel. They're on Russo Brand, NFO podcast, and they're getting people, high-level guests now, voices from the Clone Wars and from the new Mando series. So Just awesome stuff here, man. And if you're not watching the Mandalorian series, you're really missing out. It truly is the best thing Star Wars has ever done, to be honest with you.
True. It's very, very good. A lot of good storytelling. And I can even tell, because I would sit down and watch it with my wife, who's not the biggest Star Wars fan, and she absolutely loves it because it's a great story to follow. It's easy to follow, even if you haven't, granted, it's better if you have seen the Star Wars stuff because it gives you context. But even if you haven't seen Star Wars, you can absolutely start from the beginning and understand the story being told. So it's very well done. And like I said, I think especially this last episode was really good. I'd love to talk shop with those guys, but there's so many people that want to talk shop with them. I feel like I'm in the, there's bigger names than me that are trying to get in on that. The only thing I will say, I'll have to hit them up. The only thing I will say is I really hope they pursue the story, because they placed the pebble in the pond of this last one of turning Grogu or Baby Yoda into a future Sith Lord, or at least tease it. I hope they continue to tease that, because I think that could be a very good path and a very interesting one to go down.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Phenomenal stuff every week from that show. So definitely tune in and keep up with what we got going on here. And they have a whole, email and everything to get a hold of the NFO podcast. If you've got high level Star Wars questions, we're looking for that interaction. Those guys love that kind of stuff. So please hit them up and subscribe, whatever they got going on, man. New Force Order podcast here at Hamin Media Group Official. Excuse me, Beast, we made it, man. A great locker room. What an awesome run-in from Chopper Von Lilas.
Yeah, this is great.
We can't wait to celebrate Von Lilas Day the rest of the day. What are you going to do for Von Lilas Day?
I think I'm going to make some old ladies do some squats. That sounds good. For every squat they do, they don't have to take a chop from Von Lilas. So that's how I'll keep them motivated.
Yeah, they never do another squat again. If they took one from them, they'd be dead. They'd be knocking them out.
That is true. Might have to pad them up.
Yeah, man. And I'm going to break this whiskey out. I think, it's Monday, so maybe not. I'm going to wait till I watch along tomorrow. I'm anxious to try this Bernheim, and I know you are too, as you've added to.
Yeah, let me know. Actually, it'll be fun. We don't have to do. I'm just literally just spitballing. Maybe if we did a short little live stream, I can get one of my new bottles. You get your new bottle, and we'll taste test it up. And just maybe 5 or 10 minutes. Just taste them, say hot cha, cheers, and then
I like that. I like that. Maybe we'll do it after the meeting at 3:30 gimmick. So
I'm down. Yeah. So be on the lookout. YouTube. Hamin Media Group.
A little happy hour at Hamin Media. Hamin Media's happy hour, the hardcore happy hour, taking it all the way back to the WrestleZone days. That was right. The show.
This is the way.
This is the way, infidels, of the Monday Locker Room, powered today this morning by The Broasters Coffee. Vince Russo, bro. The best way to get it right online, to go to thebrosters.com. You can get a 5-pound bag. You can get the regular pound bag. Great stuff, you guys, and that's an excellent stocking stuffer for Christmas, along with ZordosOliveOil.com with our host Triple D of the Star Trek The Academy podcast, who just had on Murder Hawk from AEW, Lance Archer, a Star Trek guy, checking in. So we might have some galactic battles going on here with some high-level names.
I'm still wanted. I'm still calling for it. I'm going to keep poking the bear till it happens. I want a Star Trek versus Star Wars debate. And from what I understand, Team Star Trek has accepted the challenge, but we haven't had Star Wars step up.
You want high level, so we got Murder Hawk, pretty high level. Cody Rhodes is a huge Star Trek fan, so who knows how long it is until we beam him up to the Academy podcast and hear all about it from the inside. True,
but I will say I know Cody's he's a Star Wars fan as well, so it'll be interesting to see what side will he take.
Ooh, can we turn him either way? Either way, GGP will be politicking for a booking, and I'm sure he'll get it because that's what he does. I want to say thanks to everybody who went to ProWrestlingTees.com/Dr. Beast and /Ben Hamin and bought our new shirts for the Culture Vulture shirt. Been doing well. Sold some Conspiracy Horsemen and Woo Hamin shirts. So I wanted to say thank you, everyone who's taking place on Cyber Monday. It's a full week of Pro Wrestling Tees sales. I'm sure there'll be plenty more as we go into the Christmas season. So definitely.
When you think about it, Ben, actually all of our sponsors have a good little stock, or not necessarily stocking stuffer, but a nice little gift. We got your olive oil, if you know someone that likes to cook. We got your coffee for everybody. And then, of course, Stevie Richards Fitness Program, which is, a more more than reasonable cost if you have a friend or family member looking to get in shape in the new year and, have those New Year's resolutions. That'd be a great way to kick things off, honestly.
Absolutely, man. So, we're only going to bring you top quality products that are going to enhance our life and enhance the small business owners we work with to use the power of our entire group together. Group. But it was a great time this morning. The Monday Locker Room, Infidels, getting through the headlines. We'll make it through Raw tonight and Russo brand tomorrow, and just keep on keeping on, Infidels. As we move into December, we'll be gone till November here on the Monday Locker Room. Yalla.